After months of waiting with nervous optimism, Pokemon Legends Arceus hit the Nintendo Switch and took gamers by storm. Many claimed it was the breath of fresh air the franchise truly needed, and others even stated the game was the Pokemon experience they had always dreamed about. We here at SLURP have added Pokemon Legends Arceus to our top 10 games of all time. That's right, not of the month or even the year, of all time. And that's an important point to make as we go forth with this list, as many will think our pitches for the sequel undermine and even degrade on the success of Pokemon Legends Arceus. We adored Pokemon Legends Arceus, but that doesn't mean it wasn't without faults. It wasn't a flawless game. There is room for improvement, and that's what we're here to accomplish. So, if we were lead developers of the Legends sequel with a budget representative of the largest intellectual property in the world, this is what we would do. Criticism ahead. Remember, you clicked on this video, you only have yourself to blame. This is 5 pitches for the Pokemon Legends sequel. Number 5, a graphical upgrade. Okay, say you're groaning. Let's start by getting the obvious pick out of the way. If you've spent any amount of time with Pokemon Legends Arceus, you will have noticed a slew of graphical problems. Texture pop-ins, extremely low NPC frame rates, etc. And while the excellent gameplay helps to distract from the graphical problems, the truth is we have seen better-looking games on the PlayStation 3, and that's a problem. We're not looking for Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man PS4 levels of graphical perfection, although it would be nice as Pokemon is the most profitable franchise in the world. We just want the graphical issues to be smoothed out. It is likely that a Pokemon Legends Arceus sequel won't release on Nintendo Switch. So we can only hope that once Nintendo reveals its next console, it will be powerful enough to give us a more immersive graphical experience. Number 4, a cinematic experience. Pokemon Legends Arceus has been such a success with fans as it finally feels like the first step in a new direction that many of us have always dreamed about. Whether you play the games, collected the cards, or watched the anime, you envision an open-world experience where you were at the center of the Pokemon universe. The problem is, even as a child envisioning your ideal Pokemon experience, your dreams were probably a little more cinematic than what we got. We hate to say it, at certain points this game feels lifeless. We get it. We fell from the sky. Again, we'll remind you we adored this game, and Legends Arceus is still the closest Pokemon has got to achieving the vision of many of its most dedicated fans. So instead of just complaining, let's suggest a few ways we could improve. It's time to get this off our chest. We're bored of Pokemon not having voice acting. We get it, as a JRPG, using text boxes to convey speech instead of voice actors means it fits into the conventions of the genre. However, most JRPGs have significantly more dialogue than Pokemon, a much wider cast of characters, and operate on a comparatively minimal budget. It's not like Pokemon would be alone in embracing voice acting either. Voice acting would quickly fill the cast of characters with life, and it might even help with some of that wonky dialogue. Don't lie, you skim read and I roll. Voice acting will force better writing because the actors will actually be forced to read the dialogue aloud. Another easy fix to elevate the experience is the inclusion of cutscenes. It seems like every time we get a new Pokemon release, the Pokemon Company gifts us with a beautiful new animated or live-action trailer. These trailers are always so well received, and we're left scratching our collective heads wondering, why are these not in the games? These kinds of cutscenes fully rendered and animated with voice acting would do so much to paint the world we expect, while also immersing us in it. And hey, if you want to cut corners, after all, this is a business, right? Just add voice acting to the cutscenes and then give us text boxes over less important discussions with NPC. Number 3, the Pokemon Coliseum. Pokemon Legends Arceus certainly did do a lot to help update and expand the Pokemon battling system. However, we still feel like battling was a second thought in this game. Catching Pokemon is where Legends Arceus really shines, but unfortunately, we never feel as we were allowed to test our Pokemon in a battle that felt truly challenging. So how do we change that? We've seen some comments from people disappointed that gyms weren't included in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and honestly, we don't agree. Keep gym battles to the quote-unquote mainline Pokemon games. It's a good way of differentiating the two separate series. Our pitches instead revolve around introducing a new battle environment, somewhere that can test your progress and challenge players even after the credits roll. When deciding what this environment could look like, we kept coming back to a Pokemon Coliseum. Think less 2003 GameCube Classic and more Kingdom Hearts Olympus Coliseum. Our idea would say players test their might against local and visiting characters within the Pokemon Coliseum. You could randomly receive word that a new challenger or event is available at the Coliseum. The challenge and difficulty of those you battle could increase as you level up throughout the game. To diversify the Coliseum's offerings, several big events could happen. For example, in Kingdom Hearts, giant titans will take over the Coliseum, and it will be your job to take them out. In our Pokemon Coliseum, giant and challenging alpha Pokemon have been spotted, and it's your job to vacate them from the premise. The offerings could be further diversified by the inclusion of survival modes where trainers have to survive against an endless list of challengers in the form of NPC trainers. The goal in this mode would be to achieve high scores being awarded in universe trophies for your attempt. A final Coliseum event we are going to pitch revolves around specific types of battles. For example, the Coliseum's owner states that today the audience is eager to see you use a party full of water Pokemon. Or perhaps another time he mentions that before the audience entered the Coliseum, they were polled, and today they are only interested in seeing grass and fire types. This would mean throughout the game, you would not only be thinking about which Pokemon to level up to be a part of your main party, but also which Pokemon to focus on for type-specific Coliseum events. The rules and regulations of the Coliseum would vary greatly from the battles within the rest of the game's world. For example, player versus challenger battles would be governed by Coliseum's sporting rules. By this, we mean if your challenger enters the Coliseum with 3 Pokemon, you could only enter the battle with 3. You would be forced to choose which Pokemon to bench before entering. And as a quick side note, if Game Freak could actually include the bench Pokemon sitting on a bench waiting for you, that would be just perfect. Number 2. Grand Theft Auto. For this pick, we return to this idea of the Pokemon game we always dreamt about. Before the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus, there were always 2 descriptions that floated around when fans discussed their dream Pokemon game. We wanted a Pokemon open-world game, also known as a Pokemon Grand Theft Auto-style game. Picking up Lopunny from the strip club, right? Not quite. We also saw this more as a Pokemon-established game of possibilities and activities that are found in the Grand Theft Auto franchise. In GTA 5, you can play tennis, go hunting, parachute, shoot at ranges, become a real estate mogul, and so much more. And the genius part about this is you could do all of these while ignoring the main story. If you want GTA to be your tennis simulator, it can be. What if we could say the same about the Pokemon Legends sequel? Perhaps you want to go enter a bug-catching or fishing competition. Maybe you come across an injured Pokemon that requires you to complete a veterinary-type minigame. How about learning that certain Pokemon species are endangered in the area and you'll have to dedicate time to the conservation of those species? Or possibly you just want to spend some time at the Pokeball target range trying to beat your friend's high score. Or maybe you just focus on the main story and forget that any of this other stuff exists. So what we are really asking for is a Pokemon game with the diversity of GTA. We want to spend hours getting lost in every nook and cranny of a world where these kinds of activities could plausibly take place. Number 1. Pokemon Legends Online. Pokemon Legends Arceus came the closest to replicating that vision we all had of what it would be like to explore the genuine world of Pokemon. While we all valued the single-player experience, we couldn't help but think how cool it would be to explore and catch them all with a friend. In the same discussions that come about when asked, what is your dream Pokemon game? Many people will answer a Pokemon MMO. However, with Nintendo's current approach to online gaming, that specific dream seems very unlikely. So why don't we pitch something that seems a lot more likely, something that could wet our whistles and might even work better? Yet again, we come back to the Grand Theft Auto comparisons, this time looking at the successful Grand Theft Auto Online extension. GTA Online is a dynamic and persistent online world. The game will let you and your friends team up to tackle missions, activities, and ambient events, as well as competing with others in more traditional game modes. And this is exactly the kind of experience we want. Maintain Pokemon Legends 2's single-player adventure and instead create a separate area where players can join 32-player lobbies and meet up with friends and catch them all. Pokemon Legends Online, a dedicated island space that could include Pokemon and evolutions native only to that online area. Players could take part in previously mentioned activities, and similarly, the online space could include seasonal raids and trading in a way that has not been seen in Pokemon before. And that's our list. How did we do? What pitches you have for the Pokemon Legends Arceus sequel? Leave a comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely subscribe to SLURP. We have some of the best conceptual and fan-made content relating to Pokemon on the whole of YouTube. Thanks for watching.
What if I wake up and I have another nightmare? And I can't wake you up if I wasn't with you right there. No, I wanna Travel to your house, I got everyone around, but it's not you.